Jamie Dornan. I would do anything for Amelia Warner. She's been hurt too much. A moving story about loyalty, love, and the quiet strength of forgiveness. The storm before the calm. The London sky was heavy with rain that evening, the kind of grey that seeped into your bones. Jamie Dornan sat alone in the back of a black car, staring out the window as droplets raced each other down the glass. The world outside was blurred, the city's lights distorted like memories he didn't want to remember. He was on his way home, though lately that word felt fragile. Amelia had been distant, not cold, just quiet, the kind of quiet that hides pain. The tabloids had been merciless for months, dragging up old stories, twisting words, inventing shadows that didn't exist. Every time Jamie read one of those headlines, he saw the toll it took on her. The sleepless nights, the forced smiles, the way her music turned softer, sadder. He had tried to shield her, but fame had its own gravity, and it pulled everything, even love, into its orbit. That night, he made himself a promise. No matter what it costs me, I'll protect her. I'll bring her peace again. The woman behind the silence. Amelia Warner wasn't made for the spotlight. She was a composer, an artist, a quiet soul who found meaning in the spaces between notes. She had lived through heartbreak long before Hollywood knew her name. In her 20s, the world had called her fragile, a label she wore like armor. Then she met Jamie, and for the first time, she let someone in completely. They had built their home out of laughter and music, out of messy mornings and baby giggles. But as Jamie's fame rose, so did the noise around them: gossip, comparisons, endless scrutiny. Amelia had always said, "I can handle being misunderstood by strangers, but not by you." Those words haunted Jamie now. He had let the noise seep in. He had become too busy explaining, too distracted defending. And somewhere along the way, she stopped trying to be heard. The breaking point. It happened after a charity event, cameras flashing, microphones shouting questions about Dakota, about films, about rumors that refused to die. Amelia had stood beside him, poised and gracious as ever. But later that night, in the quiet of their kitchen, something in her eyes broke. "Jamie," she said softly, "do you ever feel like I'm just surviving next to your life?" He froze. "No," he said quickly, "you're my life." She smiled sadly. "Then why does it feel like I'm watching it from outside the glass?" He wanted to answer, but words failed. Because deep down, he knew what she meant. He had been living two lives, the public one that demanded charm, and the private one that demanded presence. And lately, he'd been failing at the second. Amelia turned away. "I'm not angry. I'm just tired of being strong." That night, Jamie didn't sleep. He watched her through the half-open door as she sat at the piano, playing something he didn't recognize, soft, aching, beautiful. It was a song about breaking quietly. The letter he never sent. 2 days later, Jamie sat in his study, surrounded by scripts and unopened mail. He opened a blank notebook and began to write. "Amelia, you once told me that real love means protecting someone even when they don't ask for it. I think I forgot that. I thought showing up for work was the same as showing up for us. It isn't. You've carried so much, the whispers, the comparisons, the way strangers think they can touch our life like it's theirs. You never asked for this world. I brought it to your doorstep. If I could take it all away, I would. If I could trade every red carpet for your peace, I would. I would do anything for you, Amelia. Because you've been hurt too much, and I can't stand to watch it anymore. Love, Jamie." He didn't send it. He left it in the drawer, as if the act of writing could somehow undo the hurt. Sunrise Chapter 5 The Plan. The next morning, Jamie canceled everything: interviews, photo shoots, rehearsals. His team protested. He didn't care. He packed a small bag and drove to the coast. No cameras, no schedule. Just wind, salt, and silence. He sent Amelia a single message. Meet me by the sea. No one else. Just us. Hours later, she arrived, in a gray sweater, hair pulled back, eyes wary but curious. What is this? She asked. A restart, he said simply. If you'll let me. They walked along the shore in silence. The waves crashed like applause in the distance, but between them, everything was still. Finally, Amelia stopped. Jamie, you can't fix what fame does. You can't fix people's words. I know, he said. But I can make sure they don't reach you anymore. I can be your wall. She looked at him, really looked, and saw not the actor, not the image, but the man she had once fallen in love with in a small pub in Notting Hill. The one who made her laugh until she cried. Why now? She asked. Because I finally realized that loving you isn't about being strong in front of the world. It's about being gentle with you behind it. Healing in small things. They stayed there for 3 days. No phones, no headlines, no noise. Jamie cooked breakfast, badly, but with love. Amelia laughed when he burned the toast and told him it tasted like devotion with a hint of smoke. They walked along the cliffs, fingers brushing. They talked about everything and nothing, childhood dreams, the songs she never released, the fears he never admitted. One afternoon, as they sat watching the sunset, Jamie said quietly, You know what I hate most about this life? What? That people think they know us better than we know each other. Amelia smiled softly, then stopped letting them write our story. He nodded, feeling something lift inside him. From now on, it's just us. Our pace. Our story. That night, she played the piano in the small seaside cottage. Jamie watched her, realizing that no performance, no award, no fame could ever compare to this, the sound of her healing. The apology that changed everything. When they returned to London, Jamie did something no one expected. He sat down for an interview, not to promote a film, but to tell the truth. He didn't talk about Dakota, or rumors, or fame. He talked about love. I've made mistakes, he said. I've let work become a wall between me and the people I love. But my wife, Amelia, she's the strongest person I know. And she's been hurt too much, especially because of me. I owe her peace. I owe her protection. And I'll spend the rest of my life giving her both. The interviewer was stunned. Fans flooded social media with words of support. But Jamie didn't read them. He turned off his phone and went home. Amelia was sitting by the window, cup of tea in hand. When he walked in, she didn't say anything, she just reached for his hand. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. I did, he answered. Because the world needs to know what I already know, that you're the reason I have a heart at all. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Then keep it safe, she whispered. Always, he said. That's a promise. The days after. They began again, slowly. Jamie stayed closer to home. Amelia started composing new music, gentler, warmer, full of life. Sometimes when he came home late, she'd still be at the piano, humming softly. He'd stand in the doorway, watching her fingers move across the keys like someone mending something invisible. He'd walk up behind her, wrap his arms around her, and whisper. You know I'd do anything for you, right? Every time, she'd smile. I know. And she did, not because of his words, but because of how he showed up, quietly, consistently, completely. The quiet future. A year later, they returned to the same seaside cottage. No announcement, no reason, just because. The girls were older now, running barefoot through the sand. Amelia laughed freely again, her eyes lighter than they'd been in years. Jamie watched her from a distance, heart full. When she turned and caught his gaze, she smiled, not as a woman forgiven, but as one seen, completely. That evening, they sat on the porch as the sky turned gold. You know, Amelia said softly, I used to think strength meant not breaking. And now? Jamie asked. Now I think it means trusting someone to hold you when you do. He reached for her hand. Then let me hold you forever. She laughed gently. Careful, that sounds like a vow. It is, he said simply. What love becomes. Years later, in a quiet interview for a BBC special, Jamie was asked a simple question. What does love mean to you now? He paused for a long moment, smiling faintly. It means showing up, he said. Even when the world gets loud. Even when you've failed. Especially then. It means protecting the one who believed in you when no one else did. He looked down at his wedding ring, turning it slowly. Amelia's been through enough pain for a lifetime. If I can give her peace for the rest of it, then that's all I'll ever need. The interviewer didn't press for more. The silence that followed said everything. Because some stories don't end with fireworks or grand gestures. Some end, and begin again, in the quiet promise of two people who refuse to let go. And for Jamie and Amelia Dornan, that was love. Not perfect, not easy. But real. Eternal. Unbreakable.